Well, hey everybody, I'm John Rethlin, and here is a double feature of two movies that I saw on Netflix recently. We Have Always Lived in the Castle, a psychological drama, and St. Agatha, a straight up horror movie. Now, what's the connecting theme between these movies? Because that's what I try to do with these double features, just shorter reviews and just have some fun and everything. And if they're bad, rant a little bit and just tell you not to watch them. People are in a house and there's some creepy undertones about it. In the case of We Have Always Lived in the Castle, it is a family trying to overcome a tragedy and hold things together, a rich family trying to hold things together. In the case of St. Agatha, it is whether the audience can stay awake to watch this fucking bullshit. Can you tell which one I liked a whole lot more? And I'll be honest, I'm going to start off with We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but for fuck's sake, that movie was like an Oscar winner compared to St. Agatha. Now, with We Have Always Lived in the Castle is directed by Stacey Passon. I almost said Stacey Passion, who directed Concussion. If you've seen Concussion, you kind of get a bit of a tone, the same tone in this one. I mean, obviously not the same subject matter. She's also directed some various TV shows. And it's also based on a novel by Shirley Jackson. I've never read the novel. If you've read the novel, please let me know in the comments how it is, and maybe you'll pick it up at some point. But you have Taissa Farmiga, the younger sister of Vera Farmiga from The Conjuring and all that. And Taissa's actually been in, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. She was in The Nun. She's been in a few seasons of American Horror Story, and she's actually pretty damn good. You also have Alexandra Daddario, the one with the piercing blue eyes from the Percy Jackson movies. Was also in Baywatch. And actually, I think could be pretty good in some movies, but just seems to be getting a lot of shit. You also have Crispin Glovering all over this goddamn movie. No, that's not a euphemism. He's just extremely strange. Pretends to be shocked because Crispin Glover's a bit strange. And you also have Sebastian Stan, who's been in various movies. You know, he was in some of the Captain America franchise, and this tells the story of the family of the Blackwoods. It's a very rich family living outside of this town. Tragedy has struck them. The remaining members of the family living in the household, living in the mansion, are trying to hold things together. Alexandra, who plays Constance, very obviously has a lot of damn issues. Taissa Farmiga's character, Maricat, is trying to protect her and protect the family, and even buries shit outside, a tree in the woods as opposed to a tree in a pool. And is like, if she buries the stuff and uses a spell, it can protect her family for a day. Okay. This movie doesn't explain a ton of stuff. It almost seems to assume that you have read the novel. So maybe there's other stuff in the novel that I just didn't catch up on. But the family is pretty much considered the black sheep. The Blackwoods are the black sheep. Anytime Maricat goes to town, she's being harassed. She gets supplies and everything. There are people that don't mind the family, but by and large, the family is like bullying her and this kind of stuff and everything. And also, during this whole thing where, the family's trying to grow or get over this tragedy, Crispin Glover's character was poisoned but lived, but he's also in a wheelchair. And he's kind of gone completely insane because of that and because he's a writer and everything. And I'll say this much, I got tones of like Mother, the movie Mother that had Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, Ed Harris, and Michelle Pfeiffer in it, and was an absolute goddamn train wreck. I got undertones of that because of like the house, and because of how sometimes people would overact. But let me tell you right now, We Have Always Lived in the Castle, A, more measured, and B, actually is kind of good in comparison to Mother. But then again, I could, rip a shirt off. I could rip a shirt in pieces and everything, throw it in a pile of shit, set it on fire, and it would look and smell better than the movie Mother did. But here's the whole point of We Have Always Lived in the Castle. There's all this stuff where it's like, the family lives in, it's not like the rest of the town lives in squalor, but the family's just trying to maintain everything. And then this cousin shows up. This cousin that takes an awfully weird effect. This cousin of the family that takes a weird liking to Constance, to almost incestuous type, degree. And it becomes pretty obvious that there are, weird intentions and everything, and dark intentions, and Maricat's trying to get rid of him, and then Crispin Glover's overacting. There's all this stuff going on, and eventually the town folks get upset, and they set the town on fire. Or they don't set the town on fire; they set the house on fire. Because they're tired of the Blackwoods. They feel the Blackwoods are evil. They're witchy and this kind of stuff, and they should move out of the town and everything because it's a working class town. They wouldn't know anything about what it's like to work. And basically, the house ends up getting set on fire. I'm skipping over a whole lot of this stuff because there isn't a lot to this movie, in the 98 minutes that there is. But um, the acting isn't horrible. It is what it. They burned down this beautiful house set, which was a bit disappointing. But everybody runs in. Everybody like steals everything, and then Constance and Maricat are left, and they basically put the pieces back together. And now they're using this pain that they got to basically scare the town folk. That's pretty much what I got from this movie. Everyone's apologizing by bringing food and everything, realizing, oh, we made a mistake burning down your mansion and everything. And I mean, you guys may have money, but also there was this safe in there that had all this money that the father didn't believe in banks and stuff like that. It's a movie where a lot is left up to interpretation. I can't say that I necessarily hate it, but I can't necessarily say it was all that great. C minus. C minus. That's basically what it was. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad movie, but C minus because the acting was decent for what it was, and that's really about it. There were some decent shots. There was some decent dialogue, but that was really about it. And now, folks, taking a short break, and I'll be right back with the St. Agatha part. And folks, I am back with the part 2 for St. Agatha, and let me tell you, this movie was shit. This movie was absolute freaking shit. This was about 10 minutes longer than We Have Always Lived in the Castle. And that movie drug on a little bit, but at least it also at the same time had a bit of a breezy pace. This one was directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, and he directed Saw 2 through 4 and Repo the Genetic Opera. Oh, and 11-11-11. Now, I don't know this guy. I don't know how he is. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's just doing the best he can. But when you've directed Repo the Genetic Opera, I'm sorry. Already, I'm not too sold on this. Now, that movie was interesting. It was unique. It was much more unique than this. Basically, there's a woman, Sabrina Kern, making her feature film debut. She's been in some shorts and stuff like that. It also had Hannah Fearman, who was Lily in the Amateur Night short in VHS. Remember the girl who kept whispering, I like you, the one that turned out to be the succubus, on that date and everything? Remember that one? The one that's creepy? And I mean creepy in a good way, because she has that horror movie tone about her. Yeah, she was about the best part in this. You got a lady trapped in a casket in 1957. And then we go between flashbacks and stuff taking place at this convent, where this pregnant woman is there, and it's Mary, and then later becomes Agatha. Don't worry, I'm sorry, spoiling a whole lot of this stuff and everything. If you didn't figure that out, by the way. So with this, Mary is pregnant. She is there, and there are these nuns that especially the Mother Superior. She is trying to keep the peace and everything, but obviously she has sinister undertones. The whole thing is all the women that are there, not the nuns, but the other women that are there, there are certain rules. They can't talk, they can't communicate with each other, even though that'd be hard to do among anybody, at any kind of place. And they have chores, they have to, work hard and everything, but that they are able to raise their children right and eventually get convinced to give their children up and sold to these donors. Basically, that's the idea. It's just running a baby smuggling ring. That's all it is. And then there's flashbacks and everything about how Mary came to, this point. Her and her boyfriend would fleece people out of money from poker games and stuff like that. Excuse me. And then what they would do is they would just pocket the money and stuff like that. Well, tits went inevitably up, as I'm trying to say, and then, Mary and her boyfriend would part ways. She would end up, she has ended up pregnant. She is at this convent. Oh, and also, she was trying to get away from abusive dad, tried to get her little brother out of there. He tried to get a boat off of a stand above a bathtub, fell in, cracked his head, and broke his neck. And that's been haunting her as well. Everybody's got a bit of a tragic backstory and stuff like that. And the nuns, oh yeah, if you talk too much, they have you cut out your tongue or cut out your tongue and sew your mouth shut and put you in the ceiling. This movie should have been a lot better than it was, because it should have been just balls to the wall stupid and in like an entertaining way, and it just wasn't. With this, they trap Mary in this freaking a coffin or casket and everything. And they keep locking her in and then saying, "What's your name? What's your name? No, you don't deserve the name Mary. You're going to be Agatha. No, you. Oh, what's your name? Oh, you don't want to say it. You're going to go back in this." And the scene went on forever, which it should have been effective, and it just wasn't. It was really fucking bad. I'm sorry, it was fucking bad. It was really, really bad. And not that the acting was particularly bad. I think they did the best they could with it. Actually, I fault nobody in the cast for doing everything they could. Sabrina Kern actually, I think, did a very good job in her feature film debut. I mean, when you have that much material and you can manage to get this much out of it, I do give her credit for that. But also, during that whole thing where they're trying to make her say that her name is Agatha, this one guy that's with them says, "Don't kill her because we need that baby," or something like that. Well, this plan will be all for naught. You're thinking that it's like a cult-like thing, or they're going to sacrifice this kid to something and they're going to get otherworldly power. Nope, nothing like that. We also just we finally go outside at some point. It was almost like if they tried to do Get Out, but make it completely shit. Because there were tones about that where, like, everybody was creepy and everybody was in on it and all this. But Get Out was actually written creatively and everything, and this was just not. This just wasn't at all. I don't know if this is based on a book. I sure as fuck hope not, because I imagine that book would be absolute shit. But, well, yeah, like I said, the kids are given to donors. People start being picked off and everything. Eventually, she manages to escape, and after busting into, like, where the money is kept and everything, because donations are keeping this place alive after the church said, "No, you know what, you're too evil for us," the Catholic Church that turns a blind eye to all the boys being molested by the priest. But anyway, I digress on that. This just turns out that Mary, or Agatha, convinces the other nuns, "Hey, by the way, she's going to cut you out of all these deals, and you probably should listen to me." And then the other nuns lock her in there. The easily led wise counsel. Shout out to the Space Mutiny fans out there. This was not very good. She ends up having her kid, and it's just shit. She ends up having her kid outside, like in a garage somewhere. This one nun, that's one of the higher ranking ones, that has a decent tone about her without really saying all that much. Manages, or almost gets away with the kid. But then Mary, who just had a baby, manages to choke this woman out. And then earlier, like about halfway through the movie, the boyfriend manages to find the place and she has to send him away, or he'll get shot. This movie's a mess. And I mean, yeah, the way I describe some of these movies are messes. You know why? Because it's hard to recap stuff of something you really just don't care about. And I didn't buy into any of this stuff. And Mother Superior, the lead woman gets trapped in the casket and ends up getting freed right as, the credits start to roll. This cop manages to pull the stuff off and then does that, and then, boom, this music cut, and then smash, and that's it. And we're at the credits. Please don't do a sequel for this. Do not do St. Agatha 2 Electric Boogaloo. Bad. F. It was not good. It was not good at all. Pull above my head, maybe. If not, just leave in the comments what you guys thought. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm going to have more movie reviews for 2019 releases coming up here. If I can, I might actually try to do that. Watch some stuff and everything, and just have some reviews up for you later. But anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.